So I went to the Salvation Army store in the city, and they had a ton of PS2 games. And I went through, and you got to open up. If you're ever going to buy them in a place like that, always open them up, take the disc out, and carefully, and look at the back. And you're looking for, sometimes they look like somebody had them on the floor and was just rubbing them around on sand. Big scratches and that, you do not want that. It's just going to give you trouble. So anyways, these are, a lot of these were only $2 a piece. I got Incredibles, and then I got hockey, baseball, Madden 07, and Gran Turismo, which is a race car game, because my kid doesn't tend to like most of these action type games like this. He likes the sports games. To each his own. I like the first person shooters. In fact, the reason why I got a PS3, we got a PS3 for the family, and I got a really good first person adventure shooter type game with it. I forgot what it's called. And needless to say, I haven't even started playing it, even though I got it over a year ago, because I know my nature is that I get hooked and sucked into those games, and the next thing you know, I'm not doing anything else. I'm not down here in the workshop doing anything because I'm spending all my time on that video game. I get addicted. Let's see if this thing does anything. There. I was honestly hoping it would just start like spinning up the disc or something, and I don't. Wait a minute. Screen's changing. Hey, it's doing something. It's trying to read. Hey, The Incredibles. It's reading the table of it read the table of contents on the disc. Memory card 8 meg for PlayStation is not installed. At least 86 kilobytes of free space is needed to save game data. Up to 189 kilobytes may be needed to save all 3 games. Do you want to start the game? In other words, it's warning me that because there's no memory card present, it's warning me that if I play the game and I can progress to a certain point, I'm not going to be able to save. I'm assuming there's no internal memory in this. I don't know. Again, PlayStation. No. This is beginning to look like a working PS2 Fat for $3. I'm about to be interrupted again. No, somebody thought better of it. Who's that? What? I'm here, why? Your waffle maker? I can find it. Hold on. I'm going to shut this off. Alright, so I have no idea what's been happening here. Oh, okay. Press the start button. What's this button here? New game. Auto save feature. Do not remove the memory card. Well, there's a memory card in there. Create a game save to save your progress. How much you want to bet it won't let me do that because no memory card. Yeah, okay, so no memory card, so we don't want to save progress. The bank heist. Cool. So the system seems to be working. Now I'm just going to test this controller. Apparently it doesn't let you exit out of that. just jumped to my death. I've unlocked a bonus item. Cool. Alright, well, you guys didn't really want to watch me play this game because I don't know what I'm doing anyways. So what we want to do now... Hey, I wonder if I can get fried if I jump into that. Hey, electricity is our friend! Oh, not so much. Ouch. Oh, cool. Okay, alright, I've seen enough.
You sure you want to leave so soon?
I don't think it matters. I don't think I have to actually exit out unless I was worried about storing.
You need permission to start the game?
Alright, so I'm satisfied that this game system works. So now I'm going to use this cable and plug to test the other one that I just got from the flea market. Oh, maybe if I go back there I'll see if he has any memory cards for this thing. Apparently that would be a much ballyhooed that would be a nice feature to have, the ability to store your progress in a game, especially like, you know, games like that one. Wow, that's... Yeah, there's something broken right here. This is pushed in, so when I put this in, see, that's stands kind of flush with the front there more. That actually plugs in nice and solidly. This one can't plug it in. So I'd be willing to bet the bare minimum there's going to be some sort of a problem with controlling this one. Let's turn this on. Oh yeah. Standby is working. Power up. No control. Now, can you control it from number 2? Yes, you can. No data. What does that mean? Version. Console is not, well, no, it does highlight. Okay, let's see. Let's see. On the other one, oh, yeah, here we go. Diagnosis. So I wonder how you get the diagnostic to work. Hey, the time and date on this one's set to December 24th, 2015. Gee whiz. I don't think this was sitting in that box very long after all. Why is the digital output on these? Must default to that. What if I shut this off? If I power it back on now that I changed that diagnostic mode to on, I wonder if it'll do some kind of a self-diagnostic. That'd be interesting. Just doing that again. Keeps coming back to this thing. Actually, it'll hold it down for longer. Alright, let's reboot, see what happens. Tray sounds better on that one. Alright, this one's not doing anything. I don't know whether or not I have to input my control request through player 1 for whatever. Boot it again, see what happens. Reading disk. It says it's reading the disk. Let's see what's going on now. Disk read error. So this puppy's a little bit sicker. Let's get the disc out. Let's have some fun. So I guess question 1 would be no data. Why does it say no data? There must be a ROM, internal memory inside here, that it's trying to access and it's not getting. So could be corrupted or something like that. What's going on with this plug being pushed in, and why isn't it reading disk? Well, maybe it can't read a disk if it can't access the ROM. I don't know. This and many other questions I may never know the answer to, but I do know this. I do know it would be interesting to me to pop one of these open and see what's inside. Little bits of plastic indicating this may have been dropped in its life. This little piece of plastic broken off here and there. That's probably from somebody prying on this, trying to get this open. Never had one of these apart. I could go online and probably find out exactly how you're supposed to take this apart. It's clear to me that they made it a little bit hidden for you. Alright, so this is the thing that's missing off the other one. You can see this was pried right here. This is still not... Yeah, somebody broke the cover in an attempt, looks like, to get this open. Cracked it here. These little ports on the bottom here could easily be hiding screws, and they are. That one looks like it doesn't come out. Alright, so you take these little rubber feet off the bottom here. 4 Phillips head screws. That doesn't come out. If these are super long screws, then they might go all the way. No, they're not. Okay, so these are not going to hold that top cover on. That one is. And you know what? That screw's bent. That screw's bent because somebody didn't know you're supposed to take that screw out to release the top cover. Okay, so I'm going to make a little X mark right here because that screw's extra long and it's the only one of the four that's long like that. Yep, these little plastic ones do come out. They're not there just for aesthetics. And there's ones down here too. Oh, look at that. Extra long one in here. I don't remember which one's which already. It's interesting, that screw I didn't unscrew, but it's very loose. I'm wondering if the plastic standoff that goes into is snapped. Again, more than likely by it either being dropped or someone trying to remove it. Okay, this faceplate might not come off because of the front door on the front of the tray. And I may have just made a miscalculation here. No, actually it does clear it, so that's not what's holding it. It's just a little bit of jostling it's going to take. Alright, there's the broken standoff. That's a through hole one that the long screw goes through. Where's the one with the screw that was loose? Oh, there's another one. Yeah, somebody was really unforgiving to this thing. Well, there you go. This actually holds this power. I think maybe that was supposed to be a long screw that went through there. Okay, my breakfast is ready. Look at this. This is pushed in right here. That's a slotted hole for that screw. Just loosen the screw. And you know what? I gotta take this out and see how that's supposed to make contact, because that doesn't seem right. That's broken. Must be a wiring harness on the bottom. I can't see. Yeah, there it is. It's a ribbon cable right here. Goes right into there. Alright, so if I glued this piece back on here, then I could actually fix this. Okay, I could fix this front jack, but I just got a feeling that this has got much bigger problems. Alright, play with this after breakfast. Alright, I don't have much time left on this, much room left on this memory card, but what I did off camera was I took these 4 tiny screws out that allowed me to take this top cover off and expose the objective lens assembly on the laser. And it looks like a little fisheye lens. And I very, very carefully cleaned that with a little piece of lint-free cloth and isopropanol alcohol. And they have special cleaners for those lenses. You don't want to use just any old solvent because I'm not positive, but I think most of these lenses are polycarbonate or some type of plastic, and there are certain solvents that will actually attack that plastic and destroy the lens. So anyway, so I used a pretty inert. The idea is that if the lens is dirty, chances are it's just dust, or more commonly it's smoke. Especially back in the day when I used to work on these a lot. We used to have a lot of these that would get read errors, whether it be a CD player, DVD-ROM, DVD drive, or any kind of disc-based gaming system. Get a lot of read errors because of smokers in the house. And the electronics tend to attract the dust and everything that's in the air. You can see right here this dust sitting right here. Okay, so this has been pulling dust in and can cause problems. The lens actually looked pretty clean. On the ones that are really bad, like from the smoker's house, you get almost like a little haze on the lens from the tobacco stain, and you can actually see right after you wipe it off, you can see a difference. I didn't see any difference there, so I don't think that that's what's going on here. I think we're getting a read error because there's probably an I/O problem, an input-output problem of data transfer between this and the main board. This thing was dropped hard because of all the broken pieces. That's what I'm basing that assumption on, and the fact that this was pushed in. And we could have a hairline crack in a PC board. I didn't see anything, but that doesn't mean, I took that shield off the bottom there and couldn't see anything obvious, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a crack there somewhere. But just for the heck of it, I'm going to try it one more time before I, since I cleaned it, before I give up on it completely. And so we're going to turn that off. I also noticed that when I was messing around with it, at one point it was like asking for, it almost seemed like it was asking for something called the PS2 disc. So I don't know whether or not there's a disc that you can use to reload the information that appears to be missing or corrupted in the ROM. Essentially, if I plug in a controller, if I enter that browser where I'm getting the no data and it's reading the disk, what happened before was that changed from no data to a golden disk and it said PS2 disk. So it almost seemed like it was expecting me to insert a PS2 disk, but I don't know if they're saying insert any PS2 disk. Alright, so I'm getting that disk read error. So it just can't read that disk, and I know there's not a problem with the disk because it works perfectly fine in the other unit. Alright, so now that I know this isn't going to work, I figure I might just tear it apart. Yeah, it's not going to, disk read error, that's not going to work. So, just for giggles, I think I'll pull it apart, because I've never completely taken one of these apart before. So this board right here, this assembly right here with these heat sinks sticking up and this big capacitor here where the power comes in, that's your power supply. That just slips up and out. This plug, 4 pins, pushes down onto. Alright, so on the bottom here you've got a couple of shields, and their job is to contain any interference in the form of radio frequency from either getting out of this and interfering with other electronics, so that it basically there's a certain amount of compliance. Any electronic product that's imported into the country has to meet certain levels of non-interference with other electronic components. When you have a component like this, it can actually give off a type of interference that can actually interfere with other electronics. So if they didn't actually have a standard that you have to comply with, then, well, pretty much a lot of this cheap junk would come to the country, and before you know it, we'd have all kinds of problems with stuff not working around the house because of this stuff. So anyway, so that's basically what this shield does. The problem is, you can see that there's no plastic on the inside of this. This is metal. So if this unit were plugged in and running, say up on a tabletop, and you were playing the game and it fell off the tabletop and it hit really hard, it's conceivable that this could actually push down momentarily and actually short against something here, and that would not be good at all. This just is another, this is actually the bottom of that whole bay for the hard drive. So this is just a PC board that acts as a ribbon cable almost to transfer if the network adapter was plugged into the back here. Transfer all of that over to the main board over here. This appears to be a ribbon cable, maybe, or I'm not sure how that's attached. I'm not going to force it without knowing how that's supposed to unplug. This little guard comes right out. Now you can see the back side, the underside of the reed head that the laser is mounted on. If we want to take this top PC board off, just remove these screws here. Alright, there are some screws with arrows pointing to them. Here, 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 here. Those screws apparently keep the two boards together, this board and the one underneath it. These two screws on the peripheral, or periphery, appear to be responsible for keeping this whole assembly in there. Alright, this ribbon cable right here goes down to the front controller input plugs or sockets. So I'm just gonna, it's a little tricky, but that little plug should actually, this little plastic clip right here should move out and allow me to unplug this ribbon cable. There we go. Oh, it clicks up. Okay. So just take that off. Now, that allows me to take this whole unit out, it appears. No, something's holding up on this side. What do we got? Oh, got these over here. So, same deal. I'm going to pull this up. Take that ribbon cable out. Pop that one up. Take that ribbon cable out. Ah, there is a wire, a little plug right here that unplugs, which is the fan, the cooling fan. So now, all that's really left here is the CD mechanism. You can see more of this dust that's been in here, swirling around. There's actually a lot of dust collected right here on the board. Nasty stuff. Alright, so I'm sure you're not supposed to just have to keep having this hang off. So I'm going to take a chance here and pry up on this that this is a plug. And it is. That takes that off. No obvious cracks, but it doesn't mean anything. Alright, so now if I pull these 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm betting that that's gonna, oh, that screw's tight. Nope. I'm betting that that's gonna allow me to take this top board and separate it from the board below it. Shield off. And that exposes this board, which if I were a PS2 expert, I could probably tell you what this board does. Maybe there's somebody watching this who works on PS2s and is giggling their head off. And it's interesting, on that power supply, there's 4 pins, but 2 pins are common to each other. So these 2 pins are common and these 2 pins are common. So in actuality, there's only 2 wires, so to speak, coming out of that power supply going to, you can see it right here. These 2 are common and these 2 are common. And the one of them looks like it's a ground, and so this just makes 1 voltage. you know, like a 12 volt DC or something like that. Don't know exactly what. Which means that if you need other voltages to do other jobs in here, there must be another sub power supply somewhere here. This is a big heatsink right here. And I can see these 4 pins right here look like they're the back of a plug. This is a plug right here I'm unplugging gingerly. There seems to be something else holding this that I'm not seeing. Maybe that's not a plug. These 4 pins here might have to be unsoldered to actually remove this board. Because you got four big pins soldered right here, and on the back side over here you got 4 more big pins that are soldered. I don't really feel like breaking out my soldering iron and desoldering those pins just to take these apart. There's really not much more for me to see here. I was just gonna kind of try and get a better look at how much crap was actually built up inside that thing, because it's just like a big dust bunny I can see in there, and some gross stuff. And there's actually something else there. This may have had a Pepsi syndrome. Somebody may have spilled something into this at some point. Or it could be the nastiness of a capacitor that leaked. Yeah, I'm pretty convinced that that's what's going on here. You've got to unsolder these 4 pins to get this board off of here. Alright guys, so looks like that we're going to stop right there, and we're going to call this, I'm going to borrow this thing to close the expansion bay on the one that works, and see if I've got a couple of good working controls and get one good working PS2 system out of the 2. Not that I really used any parts from this, I just used the cable that I bought with it. The power cable and the AV cable. The rest of this unit is pretty much going to be, well, it might be able to have spare parts. I mean, this power supply I think is working, because it only puts out 1 voltage, and if this power supply wasn't working, I would think the unit would be completely dead. So I think this is a good power supply for what that's worth. This power switch is good. I'll throw these in a little box, and we'll call it spare parts. But we've definitely got something wrong either in here, one of these 2 boards, or in here, the actual CD mechanism itself, the read unit in the head. That stinks. Alright, so that's a wrap. Oh.